into our backyard.
The world's fastest quarter mile comes to life.
A warm summer's day will fade into night.
And soon the best of the best vie for immortality.
Inches away from failure.
Inches away from another chance.
Inches away from winning.
Inches away from victory.
All while wrestling at the steepest banks in the land. Drivers have come from far and wide to spar on these hallowed grounds.
The winningest short track driver in America, from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, hailing from Clifton, Wisconsin, in car number 36, here is Joe Shear. From Kannapolis, North Carolina, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. The 1983 Cup Series champion from Ewingtown, Alabama, Bobby Allison. The four-time national champion from Edgerton, Wisconsin, from Cambridge, Wisconsin, the 8-time Slinger National Champion, Matt Kenseth. 2021 Slinger National Champion from Wausau, Wisconsin, the 3-time Slinger National Champion from Neenah, Wisconsin, Ty Majeski.
The Slinger Nationals are a 200-lap attack of our focus, energy, and commitment. This is not just another Tuesday night. This is their crown jewel.
This is not just another race. This is the greatest short track spectacle of the summer.
And this is the Slinger Nationals.
From far and wide and even a mile and a half away, Super Late Models Racing's best have gathered once again to partake in one of July's great racing traditions, all in pursuit of their chance at history and capturing the coveted Larry Degens Memorial Trophy. The world's fastest quarter-mile oval plays host to the Cobblestone Hotel's 46th annual Slinger Nationals, presented by Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend and Miller Lite at Slinger Super Speedway. Good evening, and so happy you could be joining us on this lovely Tuesday night for FloRacing's live flag-to-flag coverage of the 46th annual Slinger Nationals. Blake McCandless, Jim Trado, and Bob Dillner on the call with you on FloRacing. And Jim, I know Steve Apel puts it well that everybody that runs here at Slinger, they do so all year long for tonight. And from the competitors, how they embrace it, to the fans, I don't think it's hard to see exactly why.
You mentioned Steve Apel. He's the 6-time Slinger Speedway track champion, and he set the brand new track record from 30 years ago. He broke it in April. We're under 11 seconds a lap for the weekly show. We're about to see some qualifying separated by thousandths of a second for our super late models and late models coming to you from Slinger Speedway. This is what they built yesterday's practice for and today's practice for. It's down to show what you can do in a 3-lap run. Fastest lap counts. Here's the order of activities. Super late model qualifying first, followed by late models. 26 late models here are going to race for their own trophy in a 50-lapper later on tonight.
And again, they'll have a last chance race for each of these competitors. Again, 16 will lock in for the super late models before we set the starting field. Then it'll be 40 laps for the late models and 200 laps broken apart into two 100-lap segments for the super late models for the 46th annual Slinger Nationals.
This racetrack's special. It's been around for 77 years. It began as a test track in the bottom of a quarry, and it's built into one of the high bag tracks that says high bagged as Bristol. And it's a beautiful night. It's cooling down now. It was 80 degrees. It's probably going to be down to maybe 70 tonight. It was a little bit humid earlier today, a brief shower in the afternoon, but we got clear skies right now. We're going qualifying and racing here tonight at Slinger.
It has been, and it has been warm the last couple of days. It's going to cool down a little bit throughout the night, but again, such a unique racetrack that whether you talk to any driver that's been here before or somebody like me that's coming here for the first time, you can talk about 33 degrees of banking, but you can't appreciate it until you walk on the property or walk down it yourself as we take a look at Slinger Speedway.
We're about 35 miles north and west of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a quarter-mile racetrack. They dub it as the world's fastest quarter mile, and you'll find out why here in a heartbeat. It opened in 1948. It was paved in 1974, and one of the short track legends that built his name here is forever known as a Slinger Nationals champion multiple times over. But in 73, it was a dirt track. Joe Shear won the last race on dirt. He also won the first race on pavement in 1974. This track has been repaved back in the mid-90s, but it's been patched since, and these harsh Wisconsin winters have certainly proved this track can be a bit treacherous at times to navigate in 11 seconds per lap.
And I think to show you exactly how treacherous this place can be, we're going to send it down to the third member of our broadcast crew, and Bob Dillner here in a couple of minutes. But first, let's go ahead and show you a lap around Slinger Super Speedway. And again, from this drone cam, you get an amazing look at all the cracks and crevices of this racetrack.
And that big black strip, that is some grip spray put down in the upper lane to make this two-lane racetrack a better grip on the top side. This is the exit to turn number 2. This is how they have to kind of climb the bank and get back to pit road. But in reality, this track, this is the moment you better be right. Off of turn 2, it's flatter on the bottom, more banked on the backstretch heading into turn 3. And you better be ready to hit the gas pedal before the middle of 3 and 4 to get it right.
And again, if you're sitting for the grandstands here on the front straightaway, you get such an amazing look at the backstretch, because that front stretch a little bit flatter when you're coming out of the banking. And there's Bob Dillner sitting in turns 3 and 4. Bob, how are things out there on the racetrack?
Hey, it's Slinger, baby, and we are so excited to be here with FloRacing. This place is special for so many reasons, but I believe there are 2 reasons for me that stand out from the rest. We take a look. You mentioned that banking. It is difficult to walk up this racetrack, and what they did to make it even more exciting is they put some grip conditioner down here on the second lane, and that allows for some unbelievable and tacky grip coming off the corner to allow for 2-wide racing. But you mentioned 33 degrees of banking. Let's take a look right here on my angle finder on my phone, and you can take a look right now. You can see 23 here. You go all around the racetrack, and you see different amounts of angle throughout the corners here at this racetrack, but it has settled through the years. Jim mentioned 1974 is when this place was first paved. Well, things settle a little bit. At different parts of the corner, you can see 18 degrees. You can see up to 32 degrees of banking. And what's neat is it's difficult to walk up here, but this is also a self-cleaning racetrack. You take this super late model tire, the Hoosier tire that these super late models will use today. You let it go, it rolls all the way down the racetrack, and you'll see some cars get into some incidents here today, and that's what happens at Slinger Super Speedway. That's just one thing that I think stands out. The other thing is the fans. Passionate fans here in the state of Wisconsin, and they came out this morning starting at 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning to tailgate for this edition of the Slinger Nationals. We've seen brats, we've seen cheese curds, we've seen a whole lot more. A packed parking lot, and it'll be a packed grandstand here tonight for one of the best super late model races in the world.
No doubt about it, Bob. Again, pulling up to the Speedway in the early hours of the morning. Several fans already out here. We talked about the campers that were here yesterday during practice day. The parking lot was nearly full at 9, 10 o'clock this morning with fans tailgating. I saw the line to get in. They opened gates at 11:30, and they must have had to wait 10 minutes to be able to get in before fans even had the opportunity to just watch these drivers practice. These fans are unbelievable.
They're doing it right because they have the Slinger Nationals as a traditional second Tuesday in July date. The fans know the date well in advance, and it began with Dick Trickle and then track owner Wayne Erickson saying, how can we get a big special event here? And Dick said, man, I'm busy on weekends, but if you want to make a midweek special, I can make a Tuesday. And it's been on a Tuesday night in June or July or both in 46 years of doing this. It's a special night featuring all the stars of super late model racing in one place.
And again, many of you on FloRacing tuned into yesterday's practice coverage that we had. And again, we learned a lot. 4 hours or so that both the super late models and the late models got to take to the racetrack. We saw a ton of cars making runs and a lot of drivers that tried to handle some tricky conditions. Again, we talked about how much warmer it was yesterday than what it was in practice for these drivers earlier today.
Track temp currently 109 degrees. We're getting a look at some of the stars racing here. NASCAR, Craftsman Truck Series star Ty Majeski's in the field. Derek Thorne, this is Johnny Sauter, the 2016 Truck Series champion, a Wisconsin short tracker trying to find his way to his first Slinger Nationals victory. And Bubba Power's in the house of Sonoy, Georgia. He won this race in 2017, back for a 6th time. First time in 5 years for him. And Luke Fenhaus, this has been his home turf. In 2021, he went to run the track championship here. He won the Slinger Nationals at age 17 here. He now races part-time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He's back for another Larry Dietzen Memorial Trophy.
And again, there are a lot of drivers that leave here, whether they're happy or not. I think Luke Fenhaus is one of the happiest drivers when he left here yesterday. For more in the pits, let's go back down to Bob Dillner.
Well, one of the drivers that's probably not too happy will be Derek Thorne here because he goes out first in qualifying, but he still has a very good race car. Came from California to run this race. You've done everything but win it the past few years. What do you think about qualifying here in this racetrack?
I definitely want to be in the top 16. I'm sure that's pretty common amongst most competitors, but we made some big gains. Schaefer Motorsports is an awesome opportunity here to get a chance to be at the Slinger Nationals in front of this cool crowd today, but I think at the end of the day, we've made games. All you can ask for. First is a deal, but I feel better about it now than I did 24 hours ago. Whether that translates when you see it in 5 minutes or not, but at the moment, cross our fingers, hopefully we get some top 16.
I want to know, do you breathe at all with 3 laps around this racetrack?
I found the less I think, the better. So I don't know. We need Bruce Nuttleman to get us an in-car maybe, and we could actually monitor the heart rate or something, but it is intense, you know, and it's actually tricky. I woke up this morning, we made a number of changes, but one of them was me just not driving it as hard. I think I was overdriving the track, and it's one of those things that's easy to do. It's a lot of banking to catch you, so you automatically as a driver, assuming you're going to squeeze some more speed out of it, but I think a lot of times you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So I'm going to go about this cautiously optimistic and just get what I can get out of it, and hopefully it puts us in a good spot.
Derek Thorne, one of the best in the business. He will actually get behind the wheel of this number 7 machine here shortly. He's a Snowball Derby winner trying to get a Slinger Nationals win to his credit.
And again, he said he may not have been so happy leaving yesterday, but he was one of the fastest drivers we had in practice yesterday. He followed that up by finishing final practice today in the 2nd position. And again, like Bob Dillner said, he will lead us to qualifying as the first car to take to the racetrack for the 46th annual Slinger Nationals. We'll be right back with FloRacing's flag-to-flag coverage. Back with you here from Slinger Super Speedway for the 46th annual Slinger Nationals. Blake McCandless, Jim Trado, and Bob Dillner along with you here. And again, about to roll out for qualifying. And again, this qualifying order was set about 24 hours ago yesterday in the El Bandito Green Flag Party and qualifying draw that these drivers had, Jim. They had to go and select a can of Miller Lite, so they got to pick a beer and see where their fate lies.
There's a number on the bottom of the can to determine the number of their qualifying line placement. Pulling the number 1 can was Paulie Schaefer's number 7. This is Derek Thorne driving it. And by the way, all the drivers got to keep those chilled Miller Lite cans as a reward for coming to the party last night. And Derek Thorne is not too happy about pulling the number 1 can, but here we go. Qualifying for the Slinger Nationals underway. 3 laps on the button, fastest lap counts.
And again, he may not be so happy about pulling that number 1 draw, but I think he's going to set a very high bar with the laps that he was able to turn. Again, they'll get a dead lap, and this will start the first lap for Derek Thorne in the the Dynamic Metal Recycling machine out of Bakersfield, California. The number 7, a Fury chassis on that car. First lap through, going to be an 11:279 for Derek Thorne.
279 is a good number. The track record is at 10.994 seconds. We'll have the qualifying times and the order going on. That's a great lap considering how early he's going in qualifying. For the driver who's won the Snowball Derby, and the driver who's finished third, and second in the last 3 Slinger Nationals. That same Derek Thorne is done with his qualifying run.
And again, that's about 2/10 shy of these drivers, many of which made multiple qualifying runs in second practice, thinking that weather may come into play, and that would have been their qualifying order. So they got a number of attempts earlier on in the day as we welcome out of Big Bend, Wisconsin, number 80 of Ryan Farrell.
The Adams Towing Chevy, he can put down a lap. Ryan Farrell can dial his car in. Now, one thing to consider, new for this year's Slinger Nationals, if you've not been part of the program till now, they have not had an impound rule after qualifying until this weekend. This is the first time the impound rule takes place, which means they can't do a lot of changes other than pull tape and air pressure after qualifying. So there's a compromise at stake here. How much do you gear for qualifying? How much do you gear for the race? You better have your race set up close for qualifying.
I think that's exactly why we're seeing, again, a little bit of a back down in these speeds. 269 for Farrell. And again, top 16 will lock their way into the show later on tonight. And then I believe they're going to invert 12 cars is what they'll have for the starting order tonight.
Yep, 16 cars lock in. That is the bubble. 16 cars locked in qualifying. The remainder have to race a qualifying race, which is longer duration on your, you can run any tire, but in reality, you're putting 30 more laps on your race car to get it into the show. And only 4 out of that last chance are going. We have over 30 cars here, so do the math. Half the field's going to be in a last chance qualifier, running for 4 spots. Talked to Willie Nelson. He hopes he's not in that position in the car number 25. He races here weekly. Didn't put qualifying tires on until right now, all weekend. We had a long day of practice yesterday. Willie said, I'm getting that Chevy figured out. I'm going to put new tires on when I have to, because they have to start the race on forward, fresh Hoosier tires. And only 4 laying at halfway.
It's a 4:45 for Nelson, his first official lap turn in qualifying here. And again, these drivers would speed up second, third, usually 4th lap or so when they mocked up in practice earlier today would be their fastest lap. And you can see right there, Nelson picks up about 1/10 of a second. 3:48 for Nelson.
So Willie Nelson literally is almost looking at maybe I got to get my car ready for the last chance qualifier. I know he's third quick. Yeah. I know it's an 11:34, but we're going to see so many numbers between 11:34 and 11:26 right now. It's going to be interesting to watch, and all eyes are on this driver. They had a mock qualifying session yesterday afternoon, and the Dunred Series number 4 of Luke Fenhouse was the fastest of anybody yesterday, Blake.
He was, but he started today. I was listening into the radio. He was just way too free in many of the mock qualifying sessions they made earlier, but he's good enough to be fastest right now at a 2:33. Does he improve here? Yes, he goes right into the 1. So Luke Fenhouse, maybe a little free earlier today, but not having to worry about that right now.
Another lap of gumption here off of turn 4 on the world's fastest quarter mile. Can he break 11 seconds? No, the second lap's faster than the last. Still a great run by Luke Fenhouse. 11:111 is the new benchmark.
And again, he ran a 1:32 on that last effort, so he was still booking it compared to the previous 3 drivers that we've seen make their way out on the racetrack. There you see Gabe Summers in the 15. Was awfully happy earlier today listening in on this team, the Meristem Crop Performance Machine.
22-year-old out of Plover, Wisconsin, 2-time ASA Midwest Tour champion, defending champion, but they don't race here much. They only raced here once a year the last several years, and Gabe told me earlier today this car feels really good. Just got to get a little more qualifying speed. He's happy with his race setup. Let's see what he does in these 3 laps to run to see what his lineup time might be. 11:292 for Gabe Summers with Travis Sauter and Chris Wimmer, the 2014 Slinger Nationals champion, helping turn the wrenches here.
And it looks like that last lap is not going to be an improvement there for Summers. So far out of 5 cars that we've sent, it'll be 4th fastest. And again, it was really nice for Bob Dillner to catch up with this driver yesterday. You can see he's from Lakeland, Florida, so has quite a bit of travels to come up here and try to run the Slinger Nationals. And again, not locked into the show. These guys have to qualify or race their way in through the heat. But was so complimentary of this racetrack, the Thielens, who had been the previous owners of this racetrack, and just how great of an atmosphere they've created and what a great event it is. He's willing to make that trek up here to try and run in the Slinger Nationals.
Steve Dorr from Lakeland, Florida, home of the former track known as USA International. This is his 12th try to make the Slinger Nationals field. He's made 8 of them. Let's see if his lap was good enough before he has to worry about the last chance qualifier back in Tim Curry's FLF race cars number 90.
Got to say, with the quality of cars we've seen go out early, I don't think a 246 is bad at all. He may be one of those drivers that may not have to worry and lock their way into the show.
A relief for him. Just a matter of how much he put into the qualifying number and how much he's going to run with a car that may be set for qualifying to get a good lap, to get a good starting spot. This is the number 97 of Kendrick Cryer. The teenager out of Wisconsin Dells, now living in Florida, racing and working with Grant Thormier Racing. His first time seeing the track was on Wednesday for an open test. This is car number 97, Kendrick Cryer, now on the track, in a car that looks a lot like what Alan Kowicki, the NASCAR champion, raced here for many years, the yellow-black number 97. He raced here at the Slinger Nationals Championship before heading down to NASCAR success and becoming a NASCAR champion and Hall of Famer.
And Cryer, one of a few drivers in this field that are looking to try and make their Slingers national debut. He's going to abandon that lap. So Cryer, 6th fastest in 11:332. Now, this team was thrashing away on this car all throughout the day, but again, a good-looking race car, and 6th fastest right now for Kendrick Cryer.
One of 8 first-timers trying to make their way into the field. Again, the top 16 lock-in in qualifying. Provisionals, yes, there'll be 4 of them, but they must race the last chance race. So we mentioned about anybody 17th on back in time, racing the LCQ. That includes every car eligible for a provisional. This is Austin Nason.
Again, he had a pretty violent crash in the ASA race that was run here at Slinger Speedway just a couple of weeks ago. But he has unloaded very fast off the trailer, been very, very competitive on many of his mock qualifying runs all throughout the weekend. And Jim kind of broke a little bit of news when he talked to our Bob Dillner yesterday during practice.
This could be his 10th Slinger Nationals. It could be one of his last Slinger Nationals. He talked to Bob Dillner about cutting back on his schedule, focusing on the family business, focusing on his son's racing, and giving up racing as much as he has. And through this year, this could be the last year of going at it in a full-time manner for this landscaper out of Roscoe, Illinois, for Nason Landscaping, car corner forward off of turn 4.
206 is the lap that he has to try and beat, and he does. He'll build a little bit of insurance over 3rd place, but right now good for the front row as things run. Second driver that's broken in the 11-1s.
John DeAngelis Jr. on the track, former regular here, late model racer, super late model racer. He himself does not race every race he can possibly race. He's got a lot of family commitments, his own trucking business, but when he gets to the track, you know he means business. He has been fast here at Slinger Super Speedway, his home track out of Hubertus, in the Soper Company's number 7.
So many drivers in this field call this track home. He started racing a 4-cylinder at this racetrack when he was just 15 years old, about 16 or 17 years ago. You can see putting that experience to work. 3rd driver, 2nd consecutive to get down into the 11-1s. 199 for DeAngelis. Does he have enough for Finhouse here to take the top spot? He'll good for 2nd. 172.
How many 1s will it take? How many 0s? If you hit a 0, you might be in the jackpot. But I'm telling you, we're going to have probably 7 or 8 cars, 11.1 something in time. Michael Bilderback set the lights out several times in a late model here at Slinger. When it comes to qualifying, Michael Bilderback in the number 2 Crazy Times Pub machine is a factor in qualifying. Yet to race and win a super late model race of big stature here in the Badger State, but he certainly knows how to rule things in the Big 8 late models. He just won again Saturday night at Grundy County Speedway across the border in Illinois.
First lap 207. That is quick for a car that has shown well in mock qualifying all week long. He improves to a 185, still sits in that 4th position. But does he have something here? You'll see that wide arc, grabbing a little bit of that sticky stuff as they enter turn number 3, and Bilderback up to 3rd. No, up to 2nd. 144 for the number 2.
And it will be Michael's 13th Slinger Nationals if all things play out his way. He ran 12 straight, but his last time here was in 2021.
When this driver caught up with our Matt Dillner And Rob Blount earlier today, he was the one who made that quote with all these drivers. And again, he's a Slinger native himself, run this track all year for this night.
Steve Apel, 1.5 miles from his race shop. His boys are here, his wife is here. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of fans cheering on the 6-time Slinger Super Speedway Super Late Model champion.
It'll be his 17th start in this race should he qualify, and it looks like he is in prime position to do so there. Third fastest for Steve Apel, as a couple of 51 shirts are waving their arms here in the stands. We can see them from up here, but they can't best that car any further up the ladder. Third fastest, though. Good lap for Steve Apel.
Another 11-1. You can see it on our FloRacing screens. Billy Braun racing in late models here for 3 years, heading into 2025. Putting together a super late model run. His older brother RJ also in the field. This is Billy Braun, who's been racing here for a long time. Started out in 4 cylinders at his home track in car number 17. One of several number 17s in the PD Padurka Welder Supply Fury chassis.
And again, has been fast over the course of this weekend in years past. In fact, was a runner-up in the late models last year at the Slinger Nationals, but looking to make his debut here in the Supers tonight.
Yeah, 40-lap late model race. He's not doing double duty here tonight. Just Ryan Gutnick's that crazy. Lots going on here for Billy Braun, trying to make his first super late model big show here at Slinger. And he'll time in 6th fastest, 11.195. 6 drivers underneath 11.2 seconds. Here comes 6-time Slinger Super Speedway champion, 1999 Slinger Nationals champion, Conrad Morgan. The CertaPro Painters number 92 Chevrolet. This car's about a 3-year-old chassis, but more importantly, this 77-year-old can still get it done at Slinger Super Speedway.
That he can, and was kind enough to talk to our Bob Dillner yesterday. Was talking about the work that they were trying to do to improve this race car throughout the day. It wasn't quite where they wanted it throughout the course of the last couple of days. First lap through here for Morgan. He improves to a 6.16 on lap 2.
Off of turn number 4. Conrad lays down a lap that's 11.383, an improvement. But we talked about Willie Nelson's 11.348 maybe being on the bubble. Conrad Morgan may be in that situation, knowing what's ahead. It might be a 30-lap last chance qualifier for the 1999 Slinger Nationals champs to get a chance to race again in the Nationals.
But I think you brought up a great point earlier, having that balance and making sure that your car is ready for a race, a 200-lap race potentially, or perhaps a 30-lap heat to get into the show. Definitely going to be a little bit different than the feel that you want in qualifying. Is Dennis Prunty, the number 42. Prunty family around this racetrack for a long time, Jim.
9 or 10 championships. I think I was low on my number estimate yesterday during our free live look-in coverage on Flow. Dennis Prunty, 2025 Slinger Nationals champion. Could have won 3 of them easily. Dominant car at certain times. Dennis Prunty, car number 42, and the Zeller Transportation Chevrolet.
I was talking to one of our camera operators who lives about 25 minutes away from this racetrack, and he said, watch those Prunties. They're going to be fast tonight. And Prunty up into 7th. Solid lap there.
Here's Dennis's nephew, Alex Prunty, 2-time and defending Slinger Super Speedway Super Late Model champion, Alex Prunty. He also won the Kawicki Cup a couple years ago, so you may have heard his name before. But Alex, this is his home turf in the Paul Riley Company Chevrolet.
Knows what it's like to lead this field to green. He did so back in 2020. Best finish of 2nd came about 8 years ago in this race in 2017. Has won well over 50 features in late model racing here at this racetrack. And right now, 9th fastest for the younger Prunty.
Finished 2nd to his uncle in that
Whoa.
race. Trying to get everything out of this to start ahead of his uncle. There's a little rivalry among the Prunty family, but they certainly work together well. Alex has been a tire guy for a lot of drivers, including his uncle Dennis, and now is his chance to drive here as he's 9th right now, 11.262. I don't think he'd be too happy with that lap. All eyes, when it comes to the Slinger Nationals, go to this car. The iRacing, Soda Sense, Ken's Sports Ford, a 3-time Slinger Nationals champion, Ty Majeski.
And again, he is the benchmark. Regardless of the team that you're listening to, they are all zeroed in on what this 91 car has been doing all throughout the weekend. He was the fastest car in practice earlier today. Let's see if he carries over the speed. He'll get the white flag in 0.75, right to the top of the charts for Ty Majeski.
He was working on race runs yesterday. He changed the entire shock package for this morning's practice, and it's paying off.
Paying off in a big way. Not able to improve on that final lap, but you're right, Jim. They have been hard at work. They have run as many laps, almost as many laps as any car on the property throughout this weekend, but they have put that experience and that time into good use.
Next up, Levan Vandergeest, a driver that raced here weekly last year, focused on the ASA Midwest Tour. Car number 23, Levan Vandergeest out of Merrill, Wisconsin, a 21-year-old sponsored by Zillish Asphalt and Central Sawdust. It's a Toby car. A lot of work goes into this car. A lot of conversation with the crew chief for Ty Majeski, Toby Doodleman, and getting this car fast. And Levan is an engineering student, a mechanical engineering student that's taken over the crew chiefing duties here for this team.
You heard a lot of that conversation that I was listening to between driver and team all throughout yesterday. 5th fastest for Vandergeest. Does he have more to try and break further into the top 5? Not going to happen. But what a lap there for Vandergeest. Going to be pretty pleased with that, I believe.
One thing Levan told me, look at the nose on these cars. There's tape across the nose. He said by putting the tape on the nose, it kind of equals the packer you can put in the front end when we qualified and could change after qualifying. But with the impound, the tape is kind of replacing that role of that effort of changing and getting that nose further down to the racetrack. And here's a driver that a lot of fans want to see race well here and win another Slinger Nationals Championship. Out of Sonoy, Georgia, the Phoenix Construction Willwood Brakes, number 26 of Bubba Pollard.
I'm glad you bring that up in the nose height of these cars, because I was listening to this team yesterday and they had to make a lot of shock adjustments. They went out and they were hitting the racetrack a little too hard in this number 26 car. It's something that's a very fine line here at this racetrack. As Pollard first lap 8th fastest, clocking in at 184.
Bubba's not known for his qualifying prowess, but man, that car, if it's close, he is going to race you hard and race for victories. He's won and run across the country. Great to see a star like Bubba Pollard race again here for the 6th time at Slinger Speedway in the Nationals. 8th quick for Bubba Pollard. Next up, the youngest driver to attempt, Penn Sauter, 15-year-old son of Johnny Sauter and grandson of Jim Sauter, the T-Sport, number 5 Ford. Penn racing against his father for just the 2nd time in 2025 in Super Lates. This car was bought and owned by Duke Thorson, who owns Thorsport Racing, the team that Johnny went to win a 2016 truck championship with on the NASCAR side.
And both these drivers for this family, Sauter, both Johnny and Penn, very happy yesterday with the improvements that they were able to make. Penn Sauter up to 3rd.
Wow.
There you can see that speed right there for the youngster.
Fans are standing up for good reason. Another good reason. These fans are on their feet for Penn Sauter.
Again, Kent bested as he took the checkered flag, but what a difference. Again, Johnny talked about in his car, they put a completely different package in his car, and it was based off of what Penn's been running, and I think you can see exactly why right there.
If you watch the Coca-Cola 600, you saw this driver in the field. He raced 6 NASCAR Cup races last year, just 1 so far this year. It's the driver of the car number 9 out of Stratford, Wisconsin, the Shockwave Marine Seats. Number 9 of Derek Kraus of Stratford, Wisconsin. Derek loves racing this race.
Oh, absolutely. And this team had a really interesting conversation that I was listening to earlier today that talked about that compound or the sticky stuff that's been put on the outside of this racetrack, and they thought when it was reapplied after last night that they thought there was a little more grip out there. Again, that may have washed away with some of the rain. 12th fastest for Derek Kraus on his go at it.
Finished 3rd here 1 year ago. He had to race his way through the last chance qualifier 5 or 6 times in the last 8 years. He's run here consecutively, making the Nationals each and every year. Next up, another driver that's going to be a favorite tonight in the PMF Landscaping, Hogan Farms, number 5 of Casey Johnson. Casey's a 3-time Midwest Tour champ. Casey also is got a lot of race wins in Wisconsin, and he said this is the big one. I need to win the Slinger Nationals to kind of complete the tour of Red, White, and Blue, Oktoberfest, Joe Shear Classic. He's won all those. He's yet to win the Slinger Nationals.
Icebreaker Rockford is another one that's been added to that list. And again, ventured down to the All-American 400. He ran top 5 in that race. He's got a knack for showing up in these big events, and you can see why they're 3rd fastest for Casey Johnson. As Ty Majeski looking on at probably one of the hottest bullets in the chamber that could perhaps best him here in qualifying.
Good reason to watch number 5, Casey Johnson, 11-1-2-6. Casey has 4 top 5 finishes in 7 starts in the Slinger Nationals. He will be a factor again tonight.
Speak of factor again tonight, look at this car right here.
This black number 39 led the last lap in last year's Slinger Nationals. Andrew Morrissey, the driver and car builder, from basically flat steel and tubing. He built this car himself for Dave McCardle. Raced to victory, but the win was taken away in tech, post-race tech, for a body infraction for Andrew Morrissey. So he was actually credited with last place a year ago. That Toyota was fast last year, it was fast yesterday, and it looks to be fast again tonight.
And made the decision to come back here a few weeks ago, and it's been for good reason. There you see a 124 for Morrissey, 3rd fastest.
12 cars now underneath 11.2 seconds. and Morrissey's among them. 11.124. So now we look at the bubble times. Alex Prunty, the defending Slinger Speedway champion, 11.262. He's in. Ryan Farrell's out right now at 11.269, 7/1,000ths of a second separating in and out.
And by the way, timing and scoring refresh there just a little bit late. Morrissey up to second fastest. He got into the O's as well.
Here's the defending Slinger Nationals champion, in car number 89, Brad Miller, a 3-time track champion. 27 years of trying, paid off a year ago. Brad Miller, car number 89, a fan favorite. He's raced here weekly for years and years and years. The marker reconditioning, number 89.
He was able to pick up a win here just on Sunday. The Midwest Truck Series ran here at Slinger, and he was able to pick up the victory there.
He won the most recent super late model race here as well, a 100-lapper back on June 29th on their Sunday night show. Lots going in the direction positively for Brad Miller out of Randall Lake, Wisconsin.
And right now that car 14th fastest.
Ooh, I don't know if that's going to stay. We're now shading the cars outside the cut line of the top 16. We're keeping the top 15 for you. It'll be a whisker between who's in, who's out. Here's Jesse Bernhagen, the 2023 late model champion here at Slinger. Made his debut that year in a super late model at the Slinger Nationals. They took this car home last night. He and his dad worked on it until midnight trying to get this car faster off the corner. Don't know if they had an improvement today. Pretty disappointing after what they changed starting at 6 a.m. this morning before they brought it back to the racetrack at noon.
And again, he was the only car that we had yesterday that actually did go for a little bit of a spin off of turn 2. You see that car get a little bit free right there. Innocent spin, didn't damage anything. Right now, Bernhagen clocking in 21st fastest is where he'll stand.
11.246. Steve Dorr is the bubble time. Here's Max Kaler. Maxon put down a lap. Former Rockford Speedway racetrack standout. Car number 17. Kaler's raced here at Slinger enough times to know how fast you need to be out of Caledonia, Illinois. Max has raced his way to second in a Slinger Midwest Tour combination race last spring and 16th in last year's Slinger Nationals.
At least that first lap going to be good enough to clock him in just above that bubble. It bumps Derek Kraus to 16th, 2:04 for Max Kaler. And again, just a little bit of insurance. I mean, look at 15th, 14th, 13th, 2/1000ths of a second, 3 positions.
And Prunty is tied with Brad Miller, and the tiebreaker goes to Dennis Prunty. So if that's how qualifying ends and Prunty's 16th,
wow,
Miller is going to be 17th.
And with the amount of cars we have left, that very well could happen.
Whoever goes first gets the higher nod in the seeding of qualifying, if there's a tie. Next up, the number 44 of Justin Mondyke. He's got a lot of effort and help from Toby Noodleman as well. And the River Cities Engineering Kimmons Roofing, number 44. Darren Soybert, the crew chief for the 28-year-old out of Gleason, Wisconsin. Justin picked up a couple wins last year in the ASA Midwest Tour, and they raced here each and every year the last 3 years in the Midwest Tour. And he's got some racing laps here in that series. Finished 8th here in the springtime when the ASA Stars came here. Actually, it was on Father's Day Sunday about a month ago. Finished 8th in that one.
383 on that lap. Needs a big pickup here to try to get back up into it, but it looks like that's not going to happen for Justin Mondyke.
As good as he is, he's missed the show. Did not qualify in 2017. Did not qualify in 2018 for the Slinger Nationals. You have to make this first try. The number 5 is Johnny Sauter. Several number 5s. The orange number 5 is Johnny Sauter. Out of Necedah, Wisconsin. His son Penn, we talked about how great his lap was. This is Richie Waters' car that Johnny said flat out, I don't want to know what they did setup wise. I'm going to focus on what I do is drive, and the less I think, the faster I go. So it's Johnny and Richie Waters setup here. Wisconsin connection for 2 well-established NASCAR crew chiefs and owners and drivers.
He said on the radio earlier today, this car is a different animal than I've ever had here at this racetrack, but he meant that in a good way as he cracks up into the top 10, a 173 there for Johnny Sauter. Get just a little bit of a pickup would net him a ton of positions, just unable to find it there on his final lap. But a 173 for Johnny Sauter, who I think after some of his recent visits to Slinger Speedway, he'll take that.
This is Jeff Storm in a backup car after practice all day yesterday. They found something, as Jeff said, quote, under the hood that was not agreeable. So they went to their backup car that was prepared to race this past Saturday at Dells Raceway Park in a 100-lapper. So this backup car was close, but they had to swap over the suspension. There was only one hour and 1 45-minute practice session today to dial it in, and he went up for his mock run and ran over something, had a flat tire. So this team is down on their luck, but hopefully positives happen starting right now in his attempt to make his second Slinger Nationals.
Trying to do so right now, 279 for Jeff Storm. And again, there's 4 cars, I believe 4 cars left to run a qualifying lap after Jeff Storm is complete. 279 improves to a 272, so he'll bump up one spot over Derek Thorne. But right now, 21st standing for Jeff Storm.
Amazing to know 7/100ths of a second separate who's in and who's out right now in qualifying. Car number 17, this is the black number 17, the Cobblestone Hotels car for Grant Griesbach. Griesbach is the current point leader in the super late models here at Slinger Speedway. Current point leader actually at the Wisconsin International Raceway. That's a Thursday night 5/8 mile track. He's also raced here in the Midwest Truck Series, where he's got 2 wins in that series throughout the year in 2025.
Currently the super late model points leader at this racetrack, and he's good enough to lock himself in right now, at least in the 13th position, 188 for Griesbach. And you get a little bit more here on his final effort, 194. Not going to be enough to improve. 188 though that time, good enough for now.
2 former track champions in Dennis Prunty and Brad Miller have identical times. They are 15th and 16th on the time. Here comes now a former track champion from 3 years ago, RJ Braun, in the number 92B. RJ has a lot of laps around this racetrack and races here weekly. It's been his passion the last 4 or 5 years. Every super late show, you'll see RJ in the field here at Slinger.
You talk about drivers and teams bringing their cars home to work on it. Saw this car yesterday as we were leaving the racetrack. Brought this car home to be able to do some work on it as well. So being local has paid off, and there you see for Braun, 13th fastest, 186, nearly matches the time that Griesbach just laid down, but they put that work in, and it's paying dividends right now. 186 locked in, I believe, for now.
RJ Braun has a time that's in on the bubble. Dennis Prunty, 11.202. First car out, Brad Miller, time 11.202. Mitch Haver now next up with one of the black 7s. We got several here, believe me. It's kind of fun to watch and get to tell you the stories of these drivers. Car number 7 of Mitch Haver out of West Bend, Wisconsin, in the Progress Manufacturing Reed Racing car, has Casey Johnson helping him, has helped him transition from late models to super late models, and Mitch has tackled some of the Midwest Tour races this year. He's traveled a bit out of the Midwest in the comfort zone, and this West Bend driver, that's a suburb of Slinger, if you will, for tonight anyway, is trying to get laps in here. A lot of work went into his practice session. I saw those teams, including Mitch Havers, doing a lot of changes throughout the day yesterday and again today.
Absolutely. Planning on going to Hawkeye Downs this weekend, where he sits 5th in the Midwest Tour points. So he completes his lap. Mitch Haver right now 24th fastest.
So the fans are hanging out. That's the new Turn 4 Plaza. There's a big bar section there to hang out. And guess what? Qualifying has ended. Dennis Prunty is in at 11.202 at 16th in time. First car out, Brad Miller. 17th in time officially, 11.202. The tie goes to Prunty.
My goodness, you called it.
Oh, I didn't want to call it, man. That's a heartbreak for Brad Miller and that team. We do know one happy driver picking up a $1,000 bonus check from Ken Sports is hanging out with Bob Dillon there, Bob.
Fastest of all time, Majeski, during qualifying, but it's been a difficult last couple days for you. A lot of hard work by you and this 91 bunch. What was it, 20 shock setups that you tried yesterday? You found the right one for qualifying, didn't you?
Yeah, we were slinging stuff these last couple days. Just really wanted to focus on where I felt like we got beat a couple weeks ago at the ASA race. And it's over that bump into turn 1. I think I got to calm down a little bit, and I'm able to drive through it, whereas before I'd have to lift through it. So. Yeah, I feel good about where we're at. We kept the $1,000 Ken Sports bonus, $1,000 bonus in the family. So bringing that home, thank you to them for putting that up. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting race tonight. Obviously, a lot of great race cars here. Field is super tight. Going to be tough to pass tonight. So hopefully we can be smart, pick them off one by one, and find ourselves towards the front.
You told Jim Trado and I that you tried something different this morning and going into qualifying as well. What do you think about the setup for race?
I hope it's good. It certainly yielded speed in practice, and I feel like it's going to be better, have a lot better longevity tonight too. So it's always hard to say, you can practice till you're blue in the face, but until you get out and race it, you don't know how it's going to react. So excited to see what we have. I know we have a fast iRacing Ford, and excited to put it to work tonight.
Ty Majeski, fastest in time. Ken Sports, his dad actually directly involved with Ken Sports. They have 2 locations that do a lot of water sports and power sports, and when Ty's not racing, he's helping build quads and Polaris snowmobiles. We're late model qualifying right now. This is the other division. The cars look similar, but there's differences in the tires, the motors, the speed's about maybe a second difference. I don't think we'll get down to 11-second brackets, but man, it's going to be fun to watch. These ultra-competitive late model competitors. First car out, Michael Gudurski, car number 90. They're also racing for the top 16 in time to not have to race a last chance qualifier with 26 cars timed in practice. We'll see how they do in qualifying here.
Looks like 5:30 going to be that first lap for Gudurski.
12.530.
Yeah, 12. That's an important distinction there.
Car number 90 is Josh Nelms out of Lockport, Illinois, in the Excel Concrete Coatings number 98. Greg Beebe, the crew chief. Greg is also the owner, and he also owns Excel Concrete Coatings. Put down some nice flooring here around Slinger Speedway. They've got a lot of improvements in some of the interior buildings. They had some really fancy floors, thanks to Greg, the sponsor and owner of this number 98 for Josh.
And again, they'll run one less lap here. It appears they'll take the checkered a little bit quicker than we had in the super late models. So
here's
only
Tom Behrens.
Yeah.
He's third in points right now in the Weld, the Fab, Holtz Chevrolet number 99. I talked to Tom this morning. He's in the middle of changing over the entire rear suspension. He's like, I tried one thing, it's not going to work. I need it for the race. My qualifying time is going to be okay, but I need to have a better race car for 40 laps here tonight.
184, I'd say that's more than okay right now.
Nice job, Tom. Way to make a liar out of you and me. I'm thinking, okay, he won't qualify well. He's just going to race well. 2017, late model champion, Ryan Gutknecht in car number 01. We didn't see Ryan qualify the Super. He might have parked it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. We were talking earlier about he may be the only one crazy enough to run double duty tonight. But looks like he wasn't able to make that out. I believe it was that Nick Neri. Didn't see him pull it on the racetrack earlier, which he tagged the wall in practice earlier today.
Yeah.
As Gutknecht goes second fastest, 257. Not a bad effort in the late model for Ryan Gutknecht.
Car number 1 is Josh Thiering. Josh Thiering in car number 1. Late models have this narrower tires. There's a little bit of a groove in them. They are spec American Racer tires, and these teams are allowed just 2 new tires for this race tonight. Texas Roadhouse among his sponsors on his Chevrolet. Thiering qualifies in 12.507. Great story here. Tommy Hollywood Dormaka, race number 3 for years and years and years at Slinger Speedway. This is his son Tyler, who was that kid in the stands. He was that kid that couldn't wait to be old enough to get in the pits to help dad. Now it's Tyler's turn behind the wheel in the silver number 3 in the late models. And last year Tyler broke through and won a feature event. Huge accomplishment for that team. And then he won another one. And this team right now with Tyler Ramaka sitting 7th in points in the fireplace. Mobile Repair Guys number 3.
I'm trying to take that momentum right now. Goes 4th fastest. So they're rolling them quick here. Laney Osborne next up in this 3.0 machine.
Dell's Raceway Park regular. She, with that Funkaway sponsorship, that's the same sponsorship, Wisconsin native Parker Retzlaff when it comes to the NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's on the hood of her number 3.
Been spending the last couple of years in late models, jumped up from Bandoleros around 2020 to full fendered stock cars. And again, we see it in the late models as well. Ties for the time, 12.412, tie for 3rd between Nelms and Osborne.
Robbie Rux, a standout when it comes to Jefferson Speedway, a quarter mile that became a track that started the careers of Matt Kenseth and Rich Bickle. And Robbie Rux is racing in the Midwest Truck Series, racing in late models at Jefferson Speedway, making his way here to Slinger for a part-time run. Carl's Shell number 5. Hogan Farms also a sponsor on his car, as it is on Casey Johnson's and several others around the state.
Again, competed in that race on Sunday in the Midwest Truck Series. It was won by Brad Miller. He nearly cracked the top 10. Here he cracks the top 3 with a 374.
This black number 8 car, it's been prepared by Casey Johnson, no relation to the driver. Jaden Johnson raced around here a bunch against Penn Sauter and Bandolero, then raced in Legends cars and got really good. And this is that young man's first try in a late model, and he's leading the points right now after 4 points nights at Slinger Super Speedway in this number 8 Johnson and Sons paving number 8.
And fastest for Johnson. Paying off. You mentioned Legend cars. He's been running at the summer shootout at Charlotte Motor Speedway this summer. And right now, fastest in late model qualifying for the Slinger Nationals.
Yeah, both he and his brother have a lot of talent, a lot of wins in Legends cars across the country. Next up, car number 9, Simon Seifert. His Toyota Camry, car number 9. He's regular here the last couple of years. 10th in points currently out of Saukville, Wisconsin. The Ideal Surfaces E.H. Wolf & Sons, number 9. And Simon qualifies third, 12.216. Here comes Driver X, former Slinger Speedway late model champion. 2 Saturdays ago, he flipped this race car at Grundy County Speedway. This past Saturday night, he raced that car and fixed the second at Grundy County Speedway. And he was happy yesterday with this car.
Yes, he was.
He told our Bob Dillon there, he said, I think I'm done. And Bob said, what's on tap for the rest of the day? And John, print the shirts. John said, what's on tap? Whatever's on tap. He had beer on the mind. He was done for the day halfway through the afternoon.
He was trying to be humble about his speed yesterday. He felt very, very good about what he had right now, sitting on the outside of the front row.
Next up is Ryan Wire. We didn't see Ryan here yesterday. He said, man, my family business came first. He and his dad, Tony, said we had a lot of work to do in the wire heating and air conditioning business, and they spent the day working. They got here first thing this morning and took advantage of some practice sessions. For Ryan Wire, the COH Baird Wealth Management Group, number 12. Third generation racer here at Slinger Super Speedway.
Wouldn't have been the only team competing in the late models or super late models that kind of either didn't show up yesterday or had to leave early yesterday to go to work.
Yep. Austin Mason had to check out a year to go back to the landscaping business in Roscoe, Illinois. Jerry Eckhart also spent yesterday working at his auto repair shop at Johnson Creek. He came today in a backup car. We have yet to see the Orange Blossom Special on the track, one of the fan favorites here at Slinger. This is the number 16 of Denny and Sonia Delkamp. The driver, Justin Okrulica from Jackson, Wisconsin. The team 16. Ram Tool Motormasters Kling Lawn, number 16. This is the other 16 of Luke the Duke Westenberg. Yeah, we'll allow duplicate numbers here at Slinger Speedway. Luke's been here for a long time, racing in all sorts of divisions. Racing on the late models, the left-hander with sponsorship from W.L. Miller Transport, Quality Hair Care. For the Jefferson driver in car 16, Luke the Duke Westenberg, who qualifies 11th fastest.
You got a good look at Westenberg's car kind of bottoming out there. One of the few times we've seen some sparks flying again. They try to run these cars as absolutely low to the track as this track will allow, which doesn't make it easy on these drivers.
This car has some wear and tear and some beauty marks on it for car number 30. This is Zach Braun, who 4 years ago, I believe it was, said, I'm gonna leave. I want to chase my dream. I want to work in NASCAR. He got a job working as a mechanic at Hendrick Motorsports. He's now working in the Cup shop for Spire Motorsports. Taking a few vacation days to race back here with his dad and family at his home track, Slinger Speedway. This is Zach Braun in car number 30. Case Marino, Savalia Investment sponsorship on his number 30 car. Again, and we haven't seen him much here at Slinger. Too busy working on the NASCAR stuff, but it's great to see. Car number 30 of Zach Braun here today. Qualified 8th so far, 12.261. Next up, car number 38 is Evan Hassler. Evan got into late models late last year, and he's been good. He's been strong. And car number 8, another regular here at Slinger Super Speedway. 4th in the points this year, out of Heartland in the Weisman Auto, Rollin Transport, number 38.
Goes 9th fastest, 283. Again, we'll kind of keep our eye on that cut line right now.
Haven't started hearing the 4-cylinders, they call them the Slinger Bees. That late model run last year is still kind of like, ooh, Evans got real speed in the late model, and he proved it again this year and proved it again here tonight. Let's see what he does from the 40 lapper later on. Next up, the number 39. There's 2 of those. This is the black and purple number 39 of Colton Morgan from Baraboo, Wisconsin. That's up in the central part of the state near Dells Raceway Park, his home track.
229 there, 5th fastest, not bad.
Good lap. Good lap for Colton Morgan. This is the other number 39, the all-out Marine number 39 of Zach Prunty. He's been racing here for points in late models the last 4 or 5 years. Last year, he won the Slinger Nationals late model race, but it was a bump and run on Jeff Holtz in the final lap. And it's another Prunty, if you will, and the Prunty booers were in loud song for that maneuver, more so than the Prunty cheers here at the track a year ago.
Again, picked up a win at the end of June in the late models and qualifies 2nd fastest here, 117 there for Prunty. 2nd
in points here on a weekly basis. Here's Jerry Miller. Races a lot in the Big 8 series. Veteran racer out of Richfield, Wisconsin, the All-Pro Asphalt Paving Seal Master, number 49. He has a paving company, so guess what he did in the backyard? Paid himself a go-kart oval.
There you go.
And now he's telling me it's too fast. Not a lot of friends want to play with Jerry because he's gotten really good at that backyard run. Next up, Tyler Schlein, car number 55. 14th in points with a win this year out of Colgate, Wisconsin. The Butler Wire Tom Schley contract in number 55. Tyler also making his way through lower divisions, if you will. Not any less work, but when we talk about 4 cylinders, racing here for 15 laps, he's now racing late models in 40, 50, and 75 lappers here on a weekly basis.
283, another tie again for 12th. Hassler and Schley right there, 283. And again, that's going to be close to that. And again, we see another tie for 16th. Could you imagine it? 2 straight divisions right now, 4-1-2 right now.
And the fans are cheering for one good reason. This is the world's oldest teenager, Jerry Eckhart. His car is called the Orange Blossom Special, and this is the backup car. His wife Kathy told me this car hasn't been raced in a while. It's the old Jefferson Speedway car, which for Jerry means it's probably 30 years old. His primary car, he backed it in the wall, had a crash, the rear end's fixed, but they're waiting on the engine parts. That's the backup car. And the fans love to see Jerry, who's here to run and put on a show. Jerry Eckhart in car number 61, racing again at Slinger on FloRacing. 70-some years old. We won't give his age away.
I got to say, too, I love the way this race car looks. Brady Bill has himself one heck of a great-looking race car.
It's got a little James Bond flair to that door, doesn't it? And he's
Little
always
bit,
had cool
yeah.
chrome around everything. I love the way he attacks, not just the wheels, but the chrome accent really makes this car stand out with a great paint job. Brady Bill, 7th fastest in car number 70. He's 12th in points currently here at Slinger Speedway out of Reedsburg, Wisconsin. The D&D Tree Chelsea Steel Realty number 70. Next up, number 75. We're going number sequential, if you couldn't tell. Rolling it up to number 75 of TJ Grechkowski out of Jackson, Wisconsin. He's 11th in points right now. The little buddy, D&B Tool Quality Welding, number 75. Mike Grechkowski's dad is also the crew chief on this.
Oh.
Ooh, nearly wall finding 75. Grechkowski locks in.
684. I've seen a lot of these late models, and again, they don't have as much of an opportunity to warm their tires up, so you see a lot of these drivers slipping all around this track.
And they only got 2 new tires. Tom Behrens told me his new tires this week are his left rear and right front.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of balance of figuring out how hard you want to go and what tires you want to put on what specific events. This is Jake Vanoski, car number 84, a veteran in the late model category. Did some super late model racing as well in the IBEW Local 494 Bunzel's Meat Market machine.
It's 88 of Jeff Holtz out of Franksville makes his way out on the track again. Just a couple of cars left to take their time here in qualifying in the late models. Holtz 230 going to be able to crack into the top 16, bumps a couple of competitors out, has 1/1000th behind him and 1/1000th ahead of him.
Picked up a sponsor yesterday, PMF Landscaping. The owner Froggy walked over and said, hey, I want to help you out here today, pay some tire bills, pay some pit passes. And Jeff Holtz, who was the driver who received the bump on the final lap as the leader, losing out to Zach Prunty in the Slinger Nationals late model show a year ago, has qualified that number 88 car.
And a tie for 4th again.
A tie. What else is going on? Hey, speaking of what else is going on, Bob Dillner's found something else to chat about. What you got, Bob?
Yeah.